Hey guys, I'm here tonight with the Chief Justice Optimus. The man who cannot die, Optimus Deadpool, unless of course he rusts. And welcome to Writing Comics.
Hey, how you doing?
So, Peregrine is doing great. Y'all had a great. Well, I was at the launch stream. And there was a few problems, but but the campaign itself has gone great since launch.
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I was there.
Oh, it was funny. Don't worry. I mean, it was freaking hilarious.
Well,
Only us. I've always said only us. Only we could have pulled that off. Like something boomered up, and we had to, in the middle of it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
well, let me take you a minute and tell you something about the universe while we're talking about things going wrong. A while ago, I stayed in a hotel during the week because I work out of town.
Mhm.
I just got me some cereal and some milk, simple, and some styrofoam bowls.
Yeah.
So put the milk in the cereal bowl, the cereal and everything. Got through eating, was going to drink the milk, but on the very edge of the styrofoam bowl was busted, which I didn't notice. It was just a small crack. That crack could have been pointed in any direction besides my mouth, but it was pointed straight at my mouth. So when I took the drink, the milk went everywhere. So that's the way I feel like that's the way the universe works. Sometimes it's just meant to be. Something go wrong. It's if it can't happen, it will happen.
That's right. I mean, it was like literally one of the silliest little options up there. It was like I thought you just typed in the thing. That's what I did. You just typed in, what you wanted your category to be, right? And I thought comics. Even though there's a comics listing on Indiegogo, it doesn't have a comics listing on that back end for a tag, which is really weird. And
seems strange.
Yeah, and so that was what was holding it up. And that's when you probably heard it during the show. That's when Xavier was like also in the campaign. He says, "I'm going to put books." I said, "Yes, just put books. I don't care." and
that's what it was.
That's what it was, and it worked. And I was like, okay.
Okay, so I've watched a few of your streams, and I've been like before this stream. You know how it is. You always have just a few minutes to kind of look around and kind of stalk the people that you're going to have on your stream. But so I've been looking around, and I feel like there might be some Joe Exotic type stuff going on behind the scenes with the whole graded 0.5. So what is there any weirdness or anything that we need to know about? Your fans want to know.
Weirdness. I mean, other than just that we're all like insane. That's pretty much it, man. It's like, well, because we're all friends, right? We all started off as friends, and then we started doing this. And I mean, there's a history, and you guys, you probably have to go back a year and a half to find the whole history of Graded 0.5 stream that we did. But the thing is, like, yeah, we're just friends. We have fun. When we yell at each other, it's not even really yelling. It's just like kind of like we do on the shows, jokingly yelling at each other, and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like.
Well, y'all have a good chemistry together. That's for sure. It's like y'all just play off each other. It's great to watch. I really enjoy the streams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, so we try to make it fun for us and make it fun. Because I always said, if you're not having fun yourself, then it's not going to be fun for anybody else, right? So that's why that's why I need to keep saying we. That's why we do what we do. They all have access, like, Pfeiffer and Xavier, mostly, Mike, Mike being Evil Bob.
Yeah.
If you notice, he doesn't talk much. But he's one of the, I call him my information repository. So when he does talk, you listen because he has something interesting to tell you.
I got you.
Yeah, but they all have access to the channels. Like if you notice, Piper started doing some things on there by herself. Xavier's done a couple of things on there. So it's not like I'm hoarding it. I mean, or anything like that. It's basically it was all set up. It's like, hey, you want to do this? Like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. It's like you're not hurting the brand or anything because what's our brand? We're funny.
Yeah. And you guys are that, but there's no like you're not smuggling tigers into like hotels or nothing like that.
Not that I know of. I mean, I'll have to check with the
with everybody else.
Yeah, to make sure. I'm gonna say no tentatively.
Yeah, Xavier's gonna be like, man, I've been doing that for years.
Right. Like he says, he works at a call center, but what little did you know?
Yeah. Okay, so what we talked about it just a little bit before the show. How do uh, four people go about deciding? We're going to make a comic book.
Well, it was it was literally because of a show that we were doing with Scott McCullough, who did Door Kickers, and I would suggest anybody who's also who wants to check that out on Indiegogo as well because it's still in demand. Great story. It's about I want to do him justice the best I can. It's about a special forces unit that has magical powers essentially. So they're like information supposed. Yeah,
That's Brian from Six Gun Gorilla.
Yeah, I love him. He's my boy. But yeah, and so we were talking, and like I said, we started talking about like we were talking about earlier. What's wrong with superheroes? They're just not good anymore. You don't have fun with superhero books anymore. It's all about making movies, which, as you can tell, the movies quality, they went from amazing to great to good to to now I don't care.
Yeah, I have like the newer they're not newer franchises; they're old franchises that they're remaking. I have no desire to see. There's not very many of them that I want to go see. I want to go see the new Ghostbusters, but I'm not sure. What's going to happen with it now that we're all locked down.
Yeah. So yeah, we're the whole idea came. It's like after the show, after that particular show, we were just like, hey, they had a good idea. Talking about the chat. And like I said, once again, came from the chat. I always say, chat's kingmakers.
Yeah.
When I said, I'm tired of the deconstruction, somebody in the chat said it's time to reconstruct the superhero, and that's like, well, we need to do something with that, right? And as we started talking about it, it was like, why can't so we started thinking of themes and things like that, and we started pulling it all together. And one of the ideas we had was, how about we do a legacy character that doesn't want the legacy, and that's how Peregrine got born. Because Piper would kill me right now because I'm about to divulge backstory.
She's not here. She'll never see it.
Yep. She's probably watching right now and not being quiet. And then she's going to pop up like, what are you doing in there?
Just whisper.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what happened. No. But essentially, we had there's a character in this universe. His name was Silver Falcon, right? He was the analog to Superman. I said when we aged it, how the comics, you have the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, the Modern Age, blah blah blah. I don't know, all the ages. And I like that. That was cute. And all that was going on. And so we said, my ages started, it was like before Silver Falcon and then after Silver Falcon. So like, here's the world up till Silver Falcon. Here's the world after Silver Falcon. So our story opens, Silver Falcon is gone, because of circumstances that you'll learn about a little more in the book. His heir apparent is his daughter, right?
Okay.
She has been trained to use her powers. He trained her since she was young to how to use her powers because he didn't have the benefit that she does. He didn't have a family member that was like almost exactly like him who could teach him how to use his powers. He had to learn it on his own. So he was imparting his knowledge upon her.
So our powers in this universe, are they genetic or are they just random?
With them, yes. Oh, there she is. She's going to like, what are you
doing? Change the subject. So what about them? What about that?
Piper, if you want to come in, I'll get you the link.
Yeah, any of the graded 0.5 guys want to come in and girls can come in.
Guys and girls. Yeah.
Guys and girls.
She'll probably be like, why ain't I in there anyway? What's wrong with you? Well, let me see. I'll send her the thing. Okay, sweet, sure. She's
pretty easy going.
Mm-hmm. It'll be in your DMs in just a sec, Pipe. And there we go. All right, she'll be here in a minute.
See, we're busted now.
Yeah. Don't be giving stuff away. I can hear her now. But yeah, but this, like I said, as far as the story goes, and it got to a point where she, how teenagers get, when she became a teenager, she started thinking, well, all he wants is, he just wants me to be like him. He doesn't want me to be my own person. She's thinking in her own head.
The rebellious teenager.
Rebellious teenager. She said, I'm not going to be a superhero. Even though as she was growing up, she worshipped him, just like, well, most people in the world, but she had a special connection because she was just like him, What if I missed everything?
Armand, the zombies have started in China and they're working their way this way because of the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
It all.
Yep. And Armand is he's the colorist on Inglewood, in case anybody doesn't know.
Okay.
So a lot of I know so many moving parts here and there for different people now, So.
Yeah.
But so it goes along. She's we're in trouble, and she grows up, as she's getting teenager, into early adulthood and stuff like that, and she just she got to the point where she resented him, because she thought that's what he wanted for her. She learns later, no, that's not what he wanted for her. Unlike I said, she had the benefit of his knowledge. He didn't have nothing. So he was trying to teach her her powers, how to use them, how to control them. Because imagine Superman not being able to control his powers.
Yeah, he was the good coach dad that he should have been. He was a good dad.
Yeah. So where she was interpreted as like wants men to be just like him and be a superhero and stuff. He was like, I want you to be able to do what you want in your own life, but to do that, because you are quote different, you're going to have to be able to maneuver around in this world a little differently. It's kind of like the Superman speech from Justice League Unlimited at the very end when he was taking on Darkseid, when he says, I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard. Can't go too far or I might hurt something or hurt someone, That's kind of what he was teaching her. It's like, you learn to control yourself, you don't have to always go all out. There's different ways to solve problems, blah, blah, blah. And, as we go along, she realizes he was right, that he wasn't trying to, make her something that she wouldn't want to be or anything like that. He was just trying to let her be her own person. And that's one of the big reasons why we didn't call her like Silver Falcon or Silver Falcon 2, or where she is a quote legacy character. She's her own person,
Yeah, and she's learned how to tiptoe through the world as a super being.
Right, exactly. Because at this point, she's existed. By the time of our story, I would say it's like a 3-4 year gap where she has basically been a normal person. Nobody knows she's a superhero. In her quote real life. So.
Well, there is Miss Piper. Let's get her in here.
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble, aren't I?
Hey, Miss Piper, how are you?
Hey, not too bad. I'm moving a little slow today because I got a fever, though. Sorry about that.
Oh gracious.
It ain't one of those fevers, is it?
Oh, no. My throat hurts.
Look, you need to take care of yourself. I told you that.
Yeah, hopefully it's not that. We, but maybe it's just allergies or something. Well, the fever, though. I don't know. Hopefully it's not that.
I don't really think it's that. I just get weird.
Well, if you're like me, now everything I have, I feel a little itch in my right eye or something. I think, oh God, I got it.
Right?
So, but you need to take care of it. Make sure you stay healthy.
Don't worry, we'll take care of it best we can anyway. From
a chance that I might have had it.
What are you?
Way back in December.
Oh.
Before everybody knew about, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So there's a chance I might not get it again. There's that. So.
Well, before you came in, Optimus was just telling us, the entire Peregrine story. So.
Well, crap.
He didn't have any controls. He didn't have anybody pulling him back. So
I spoiled everything.
Oh man!
No, I am backer 13. I got my email from Indiegogo. I'm backer 13, and I am so looking forward to the book. So
Awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, as I say to all the fans, thank y'all so much for backing, because without y'all, this ain't happening. That's just a matter of fact. You might notice, you probably checked it earlier today, and you noticed that there's a slight difference in the total. What had happened is, I'm thinking, looking into it a little bit, it was a little bit of chicanery, because Saturday was a Saturday night, Piper.
I think, I think Saturday night.
We suddenly got a donation, not a backing, a donation for $500.
wow, nice.
And then today it was gone. They refunded it. And I looked into it a little more now, and I think it's Russian.
Huh.
Because the email kind of lines up with some, like, a Russian, it's basically a Russian Google.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't want to have the, I don't know, maybe if they accidentally, like somebody said, they could have accidentally wanted to donate 50 instead. They donated 500. And they saw their statement today, like, oh crap.
Yeah. I gave them too much money.
Or like somebody said, all of a sudden somebody's wife looked and was like, what's going on here?
That's exactly. I don't tell mine about. Well, she watches the stream sometimes, so I guess I do. But I don't tell her about. I'm not like, hey, I just backed another book. Let her find out for her own when she gets the text message.
I'm comics again, I see.
Yeah. So, do you want to jump in? Or do you want to play the video?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
All right, let's play the video. Tell me if this. I always forget the sound, so if it's not working, let me know, and I'll stop it and redo it.
Will do. Our heroes have been taken from us. Yeah, it's working.
Your heroes are dead. They're gone.
The question now becomes, who will be our heroes? Who will step up? Who will become the icon for a future generation? Who will be ready to take on the mantle?
I'm ready.
Rated Point 5 presents The Reconstruction Universe, and our first title, Peregrine, Wings of the Falcon. Peregrine is a 48-page plus graphic novel, reminiscent of the style of comics that we enjoyed. Now available on Indiegogo.
Man, that trailer does exactly what a trailer should do. It gets you hyped for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does. I'm really excited for it. We was talking about that. I can't help it. I'm gonna skip down here to some artwork. I was, before stream, we was talking about the Superman catch.
Yeah.
And right here, where I mean, obviously from. Not giving any story away, Piper, but from this, obviously you tell this is like a training bot,
Mm-hmm.
and where he smacks her against the wall, and then she comes back and she's like knocks his head off in this scene here. It just gives you that, it's a struggle, and that's what we want to see people overcoming. We want to see a character arc in comics is what we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great, man. I'm looking so forward to it.
Yeah.
But I might as well say this while I'm down here. I saw this earlier too. You guys didn't pull any punches. What you put for, well, let me go back to the top. What you guys put for the goal is the goal. If we don't reach that goal, then the book's not getting made, because that's the real price. That's the no ifs, ands, and buts. You got to hit that before we can actually get the book out.
Yeah, I can't. We talked about it, and we said we can't afford to do what other creators do, which they can afford to do it, which is fine. I'm not saying it's a problem. See, that's why he's the repository of knowledge. But that's the thing. We said we need to make, if we're going to make this, it's going to have to be taken care of because, most of us have regular jobs, and we don't have extra income to be able to put it all together before we launch, which would be a great thing to do, obviously, but.
Well, in a perfect world, hopefully you have a little momentum behind you. So hopefully you can get this book funded and then make enough money to start the second book. Because you said in the video, it said,
the first,
this is the first book, and it helps. It's a peace of mind to know that you have a little money in the bank for that second book, especially when tell us about Reconstruction.
Okay, well, kind of what it says. The Reconstruction universe is going to be a story where we get good superhero book stories again, right? Heroes being heroes, villains being villains, anti-heroes being anti-heroes. Remember when the Punisher was just like nobody liked him, but they kind of put up with him.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're kind of going with, stuff like that. So we don't care about, like, we don't need to see somebody sipping tea. We don't need to see somebody eating a sandwich. We don't need to see our characters going to the bathroom or anything like that. We want to see them punching bad guys, right? So that's what we want. We want punching bad guys. We want action. We want whatever the problem is. We want we want superheroes. We don't want somebody's like, oh, I'm just not feeling it today. I don't think I want to go out and save the world today. I just think I'll just let it end. I don't care anymore. It's like, no, they.
Or worse than that, they try to rationalize why the bad guy is bad. Not all bad guys have to have a reason to be bad. Of course, you want to connect with them. You want to relate to them, and you kind of want to feel their struggle too. But at the same time, you can't take that too far. And the Sith are the good guys, and the Jedi are the bad guys now, according to some people. So, it's kind of like, let's just have the good guy be the good guy and be the champion for the people, and the bad guy be the bad guy and want to take over the world for no other reason than he's Dr. Evil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
working and lurking.
That sounds like Gilmore. Let's see. Yeah, I wanted. Yeah.
Okay, so these half-drawn figures in the back are these.
You talking about the ones in the background that are being built? It looks like.
Yeah, these future books.
Those are. We haven't really designated yet, but those are characters that also fell at the same time. They died at the same time Silver Falcon died. Because this is like a memorial park, essentially. So their statues are getting built, but of course they're going to build his first because he was number one. So
yeah.
But that's what the Reconstruction universe does kind of entail. There's room to do backstories of characters that you see here, or stories set in the past before this incident happened. Peregrine is just the flagship chick, so she's going to tell her story first. But there's characters that just couldn't get squeezed into this book that are all created and ready to go to have their stories told too.
A little change of subject. I was just thinking that this art is nice, and I have trouble deciding for myself on my own art that my artist sends me. Between the whole grade 0.5 team, how does that work? How do you decide or this isn't a problem? Do you designate one person, or you pass it around, or?
Well, how we do it, just to try to keep it from being too confusing, because it was confusing for a little bit. Basically, that's why Piper has titled editor.
Besides the actual editing.
You're making sure that the script is, spelled correctly and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the big thing is looking at the art. Okay, this looks good. Where I would be like, kind of like you're saying, like I look at them like this looks great.
Yeah.
But Piper might be that discerning eye. It's like, wait a minute. It's like XYZ is not ABC. What's going on here?
Yeah, so essentially it gets shown to everybody in a group.
Mhm.
And everybody kind of has some time to say their thing, unless he's really, really in a hurry and needs a decision fast, which is scary because then I'm like, I'm the only one actively chatting in here. Crap. Like, clearly I'm the one that's going to have to make the call without the input.
We have instituted changes for that too. Everybody has everybody's number now, so we can text each other if need be, kind of thing.
This one is a huge learning experience, but we're getting more and more streamlined. We're figuring out what's working for us as a group and what's not working so well, so that we're getting faster and better at communication.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have earlier you mentioned that you guys were friends, but you have went from being friends to business partners at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's and I hope the future is great for you guys. So it's beautiful work. You want to go through the tiers right quick?
Yeah, sure. You want to handle that, Piper?
Sure.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking of actually typing a little bit more in the tiers to explain them a little better, but for right now, I will tell you.
Plus, you got to update some art and stuff like that.
Yeah. So our featured tier is the best deal we have right now for people that aren't on the mailing list.
Yep.
And that gives you both covers that we have right now and both art prints.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one is the original cover. The art needs updated on that. It's going to look like the original cover that you see right next to it there.
Yeah. Yeah, the main image, yeah.
And then that is, it's the same for our cover B, and that's a work in progress. So that's the latest we have for it. And we will update that art as we get more.
Yep.
And that is the original cover with both prints. Or both covers.
Yeah. Okay.
I
got ahead of you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much because there's not that much in the description except for the Piper. What are you doing? So they're pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Well, these went quick. The
they did.
They went that night, launch night. They were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People really wanted to be a goon.
Yeah, I've been racking my brain trying to think of another nice big tier that would be almost as cool, or something like that to offer people. But those were the coolest.
I mean, the only thing I could think is to somehow add a hero, but I don't know how we would go about doing that.
Yeah.
And that would have to be a little more expensive, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure how to do that though because the script's finished.
Yeah, well, we could put them in the background.
Launch night, the next day I was refreshing. Every once in a while I'd refresh. I mean, it's not even my campaign, but I like you guys. I watch you guys all the time. And I was refreshing the campaign just to see it going up. What kind of feeling? I mean, because you could tell during the launch stream that you guys were nervous and, and who wouldn't be with their first project going up. But what kind of feeling was that to say, okay, people have affirmed, that they want this, and it's got a little ways to go, of course, but can you just kind of explain that?
I'll be honest with you. Seeing it go up is like, it is one part great and terrifying at the same time. Because it's like at one time you're like, oh wow, it's going up, this is going to happen, and at the same time you're like, oh god, this is going to happen.
Yeah, because if you sell a bunch of books and then it goes out with like one misspelled word, you feel like people are going to tear you apart because you have that one misspelling or that one punctuation mistake in it, and it's just I can see how that would be nerve-wracking. I understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah. I mean,
now you just freaked me out. Oh man.
Poor editor.
Yeah. Well, you were feeling the same way. Guys.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of butterflies because I was very much like, squeak, they like us. They really like us. They like our idea, but I was so nervous leading up to it that I was actually like getting sick. I was pretty sure it was my nerves.
Yeah, I had it. What was it? The next day, I had my quote sickness.
Yeah, it finally hit you.
Yeah. I was like, kind of like stomach tied in knots. And I'm gonna tell you, whenever you said you have a project coming up, right?
Yeah, I'm working on the art. Well, I'm not working on it, but Carlos Trigo is working on the art right now, but we're still a ways out.
But I'm gonna tell you, when leading up to, you're fine as you're into the with this book being great. Okay, that I need to explain this right now, and we need to put this as like, I don't know, big letters. This will be in absolute full color.
Yeah, I'm going to put it bigger on the campaign, and when we redo the videos, it would stress it on there too.
Yeah, and like I said, and obviously, this would look great in black and white. Obviously, I mean, it looks great as it is. But it with Farrah Numberlee's colors, it's going to look so much better because she is a really good colorist.
So is that who did the cover?
Actually, Doug did the cover, right?
I think Doug actually colored the cover. I think.
Yes.
But an example of her colors are on the print by Ian.
The print image, which is not on there.
It's on there super tiny. We should probably put it on there bigger, just to, so
just put it. Just stick it in there somewhere so people can see it.
Yeah. So her colors are on the print. You see it in the video. The one of her flying.
Yeah, the one. The I'm ready part.
Yeah, the I am ready part. Yeah, that's her colors.
Yeah.
On a print from Ian, I cannot.
It was about halfway in the thing, but what was if you want to see another example, more examples of her colors, she's doing Super Harem by Matt Wenger.
Okay.
She's also doing College of the Dead, Part 2, and Door Kickers. So she's got several projects that she's working on right now. So.
Okay, yeah, that's several. I know of the Super Harem. So.
Yeah. Thanks for answering that question in the chat, by the way. Yeah, it's a 1 month campaign right now. So as far as ending, if it gets funded, it goes in demand. So. Yeah,
and like we said earlier, it is a fixed goal, so we've got to hit at least the 10. But it'd be nice to go above that so that you'll have money in the bank for book 2.
Exactly.
I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this book because I'm just like everybody else. I'm hungry for a real superhero comic book that's not trying to force some kind of any kind of agenda down my throat, because I feel like as soon as you start trying to push your beliefs or push your agenda onto a story, the story it transforms from being a superhero story to being a story about the agenda.
Right.
You're not telling a superhero story anymore.
And that's what we want, a superhero story. I mean, if you want to break it down, I mean, I guess you could say it's a story about a dad and his kid, in the long run. But the point fact is, what do we want to see? We want to see, punching of bad guys and heroes doing hero stuff. So
yeah. What do we? We don't want to see people drive the car off of the person we just run over. We want to see somebody pick it up, throw it across the highway.
Yeah,
have that exciting and bring it back to that what we were talking about earlier, the Superman catch when Superman caught Lois Lane. It was just that amazing, experience of which that was a movie, but seeing that for the first time was just it was amazing to me. And we had one. My dad, I can't remember what they're called, but they had these big old disc. Laser disc. Yes, that's what it was. He had Superman on laser disc and he had Star Wars on laser disc. So, but yeah, that's what I saw Superman when I first saw the Christopher Reeves and Superman.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but what the tagline was for the first Superman movie? You will believe a man can fly.
I do remember that now because I saw a documentary about the two guys trying to raise, I can't remember who it was, but they were trying to raise money to fund the Superman movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was their tagline. It's like, because before that, everything was like, I mean, I remember I was a little kid, I used to watch the old George Reeves Superman stories, from like on Nick at Night and stuff like that. And it was just basically like him stretched out and they just turned the camera to make it look like he's flying sideways, kind of thing. So it was very cheap, nobody, anybody who's like, he's not really flying. But, that was the first movie with effects and everything. Okay, you actually believe that Christopher Reeve was flying around, so.
Yeah, when he was out running the train, actually the flying, you did believe it because it people hadn't seen anything like that before. But also when he was out running the train as a kid, I was running up and down the highway trying to outrun everything. Everything on the road. Just 1,000 wonders I didn't get run over. Like nowadays, parents would be out there just freaking out, but mine didn't care. Hey, he's playing by the highway.
Yep. If he gets ran over, he'll be all right. Rub some dirt in it.
Yeah, it's survival of the fittest, evolution. It's evolution at work.
Yeah.
Take out the dumb ones and play by the highway.
Play on the railroad track again. Here we go. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, how better to explain it is that we wanted superhero books. Let's bring back superhero books. And like I've told I had to. It seems like I had to tell everybody in Comicsgate that I'm friends with. They're also doing projects, and that's like, I'm not. When I say we need superheroes, I'm not like trying to disparage any of your books because y'all are all doing great work. Like,
yeah.
Because I'm like I'm kind of like what you were mentioning. You said you were watching the campaign, you're seeing it going up, and you were getting excited, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like me with when I watched Cyber Frog Wrecked Planet launch, right?
Yeah.
And I had the link, and everything. I was like, as soon as I get that link, I'm gonna be, I was aiming for number one. Everybody wants to be number one backer,
Yeah.
So in that first 10 seconds, I mean, and my Indiegogo account is set up to, everything's already filled out. I just got to hit pay, right?
Yeah.
So I hit pay, and by the time it rolled over, it said you are backer number 60.
Hey.
What I have done, I think I've made a mistake because what I have done is I've backed several books, but I've never set up an Indiegogo account because I've not had a need for an Indiegogo account. At this point. But now I'm realizing, wait a minute, whenever I do set up my Indiegogo account, I wonder if it'll because when you have an account, it shows what books you backed. But I'm wondering
you can still I believe, because I did that the first time, like I didn't make an account, I just did the book. But if you set the account up, I believe you can tie it back into books you've already bought. So
okay,
back because I think what it is when you make an account, because you're going to put your information in, for your payment information and all that stuff, and it'll link back to that, and then it'll show all the books you've already, backed.
I feel bad because the account I'm now using to do Indiegogo only says that I have backed one book. Because all the other ones I clicked to quick log in with just like Facebook, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that might explain why
all my other backings are linked to a different account, and the only one linked to the one I'm going to be using from now on is
just one.
Yeah, just one. So sad.
That would explain why there's two of your names in the referral list.
Oh. That's fitty.
I don't expect, like, whenever I launch my campaign, I don't expect people to back my book because I backed theirs. But I don't want people to think that he's asking to be backed, but he's not backed anything. At the same time. So,
well, see, that's why I have a personal account, for my stuff, and then I got, if you look, it says graded 0.5. It's a separate account, right?
Yeah.
And I look at it as like that's a business, at this point. I always say, you keep your business and your personal finances separate,
Yeah.
So as it stands, that'll be separate from me. So you might never see graded back anything. So somebody, because I saw that one time used against somebody. It's like, oh, you never backed this or that or another, blah blah blah. And it's like, you really think I'm using my business account to back everything that I get?
True.
Yeah, you shouldn't go into it expect if you're going to back a book. You shouldn't go into it
Mhm.
expecting people to back you, or
Mhm.
I don't know. It's high school stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's the best way to look at it. It's like, just don't worry about it. It's like, if you're getting a good book, you're getting a good book, right? If you make a good book, then you get that book gets backed. That's that's just how it is.
Yeah, and then you learn from that and move on.
Mhm.
Keep doing what people like and quit doing what people don't like, what they're not backing. So that's what business is about, and it is a business. So, and people, again, talking about this number up here, people don't. I don't think that normies, most people that are watching Comicsgate stream, I think they understand, but most normies don't understand how much it costs to make a comic book.
Right.
It does actually cost.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is, but I guess I think you throw some pictures on a paper and
Mhm.
just print it at your home or whatever. But it costs some money to make a comic book. It's
I
not
mean,
free. It's
artists who do books have an advantage because they're their art. They're their own artist.
Yeah.
So they don't have to technically quote pay themselves. They do their work. And if they
Yeah.
happen to also can do colors, well, that's another one they can knock out. And if they can do lettering, well, that's another thing they can knock out, right? So it's going to be for an artist would probably be a little bit, less, as far as goals and things like that than it would be for like us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Piper is an artist. Don't get me wrong. She's done, and of course she's doing sketch cards. So everybody check out the sketch card tier. But
I extended them because they sold out the opening night too.
yeah,
It doesn't let me edit the text for that thing. It only let me edit the amount. So
yeah.
it says 4,
Well, it says
but I
5 now.
decided to
Somebody else
include
told me.
more characters and stretch it to 8 because those sold out first night too.
I mean, and Peter says, yeah, we do. We eat too. I know, Peter. I'm not talking about I'm talking about as far as you're putting in your labor and you're expected to get paid out of that. So your expenses are not going to be as much as say somebody who has to pay every, like us would have to pay a certain individual do X, Y, Z, A, B, C,
Oh yeah, if you're if you're doing it all yourself, you worry about print. we worry about print cost. Would be the big, but my art style is not the art style that we need for this book. So we needed to seek out and pay somebody that's skilled in the art style we needed.
Well, I believe it's a catch-22 because if you're drawing the book and you're coloring the book, then that takes time away from something else you could be working on. If you're a writer, for instance, it costs more money for you, but you once you're done with the script, then your part of the project is almost over. You hand it off to artists, and then they send it back to you so that you can do the look at the proofs and all. But it's just, I think it's a catch-22 because artists always want more time and writers always want more money.
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing about artists is what they would be doing is they're missing out on time they could be getting paid to do somebody else's book or do commissions while they're doing their own book. So that money is basically to print and then paying themselves back for the time they could have been making money.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, and obviously I've always said, if you got an artist, pay your artist.
Oh yeah.
Pay your artist, pay your people. That's the key. Pay your people.
Yeah, everything you see on the campaign was already paid, prepaid.
Yeah.
So
nobody's in the lurch. Yeah, nobody's left in the lurch right now. So.
Yeah, nobody's waiting on we're waiting on the campaign so we can keep paying.
Yeah,
I don't
for the
get too
rest of the
far
art.
into it, but I saw some Twitter stuff earlier today about not getting paid. But
yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I know who you're talking about and what's going on. Yeah, but try not to talk too much. Well, we probably will talk about it at 10 o'clock, but
Yeah.
because that's what we do.
I was going to say that is still what we do.
But yeah, no, it's like, getting back, talking about like when an artist, I mean, yeah, artists have to pay themselves, they got to make some money, obviously, on the campaign, when they do a campaign on their own. So, it's just that, if they can handle a lot of that stuff, on themselves, it's still their labor. Obviously, I know all of, hey, I know all about like labor because I've done many a times where it's like something I do for myself. I can't paying myself to do it. Like if I'm I have a A+ certified technical certificate, right? So
Yeah.
I work on my own computer. I don't get paid to do that. You know what I mean?
So say I do my own graphics and logos and stuff, and obviously I don't charge myself, but that is time I could be working on paid stuff that I'm working on that stuff. But that's a choice, that's a sacrifice I'm making in order to do my own stuff.
I mean, I know, like, I had a friend and she owned a what do you call it? She owned a shop. I don't forgot what kind of shop it was, but essentially she didn't pay herself for like 2 years because she's trying to keep the shop running.
Yeah, she's trying to
get it out of the red.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to build a business, and it's the same way. No matter where you go, there's no like magic place that you can be where it's not hard. I had a sign shop for 3 years, and I tried to build my business, and then I got so busy that I couldn't keep up with it all. So, but I was working. I was working all the time, but I was working for very little. If that makes sense. If I actually figured up the hours I was putting in and actually made a decent wage, after you figure up all the hours, then you average it by what you made. I was not making. I was better off working for somebody in power lines, and that's what I do. So that's what I went back to doing because I had more free time and I had more money. So working for yourself is not easy. It's not something easy to do.
Yeah. That's kind of like I had and during the point in my life when I was selling furniture, I had a manager, and he was a good manager. I loved him to death. He actually taught me everything to how to do it and everything like that. And then I hear at that point, I worked there for about a year and I left. And then I heard he said he stopped being a manager and went back to just being a salesperson. So I saw him one day and I was like, why'd you do that? He said, dude, I make more money selling stuff than I do like telling other people how to sell.
Yeah. At some point when you start moving up into management, you're like, wait a minute, I got screwed.
My mother tells a good story. She said she got where she was working, she said she resented it for a long time because she was always like training the person that was going to be her supervisor. Yeah. Says, I'm training you to do the job that I could do. Pretty much. And so after a while, I guess they finally wised up and they just said, okay, you could be the supervisor. Well, she became the supervisor and she got a raise, but then by the time they took taxes out, she was making less money. And she said, she asked, can you take I'll keep the position, but can you put my pay back to where it was? I was making more money that way.
Yeah, I used to know exactly how many hours I needed in overtime before I jumped into another tax bracket. If I could shut it down before I got to that particular point, then I could bring it back. I could bring home some money, but if I went up in that other tax bracket, then I wasn't making hardly anything. Yeah. So
it don't take much to get in that other tax bracket. I know.
Well, we need to get you guys in another tax bracket.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, for the right reasons, I'll take it for that reason.
Hey, you've got a backer. You've added a backer, or you've added a donation, maybe because I can't remember what the backers were. Yeah, you got a backer.
Nice. So, well, I'll take it because we need to recover that little bit that was lost already. But
the Russian money, you gotta get that Russian money back.
Yeah. It's like if you are you buying elections, then you can buy Peregrine. Let's do this.
Peregrine is buying elections.
Yes.
And roundabout sort of way. Way roundabout.
I'm sure there's a way of making this, add some here and add some there. That's good. Like I said, and once again, I appreciate everybody who does back. It's just it's a beautiful sight. You see somebody, man, people actually like what you're doing. So,
yeah, it's it's a great looking book, man. Y'all don't have anything to worry about as far as as far as I can see from here, the quality of the book. You don't have anything to worry about as far as that goes. If people are going to back because it is that good looking book. I will be excited whenever you do get some colored pages up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would probably you'll probably get another surge. I don't know. You'd probably get another surge when people really get to see how good the colors look.
I think so too.
Maybe at least one or two lettered pages too. Just my suggestions.
Well, like I said, we're hoping to have some more stuff like very soon, because people got to work, and as we living in what we're living in, people trying to make as much money as they can doing what they can here and there. So
Yeah, it's kind of goes back to the universe. I was telling you about the bowl with the crack being pointed straight toward me. It's man, I think the universe just wants to see what we're made out of. Can they handle this? Let's see if they can handle this. Oh, they made it through that. Let's see what happens now.
Test of our metal kind of thing.
Yeah, let's see if they can launch their book and get funded with a pandemic going on.
Yeah, really.
Well, if the universe is expecting me to back down, they're going to be, how did my friend put it one time? You better pack a lunch because you're going to be here a while.
Because you are Optimus Deadpool.
Yes. Cue a chance to we don't do that here apparently. But we'll do it at 10 o'clock on Graded Point 5.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. Graded Point 5.
Definitely. Let's see. Piper, is anything else that I know some things we've got to fix campaign?
I fixed a couple of them that was just text while y'all were talking, actually. So
yeah, we learned also over the weekend. It's like because we would fix something and then we would hit save and then somebody else would fix something and hit save. But what we realized was happening is things would start defaulting back. Like the old cover would suddenly reappear. And
overriding each other's because we were all in there trying to do stuff at the same time.
The whole team was in there editing the.
So it was like it was wilding out, and
so I finally said, "Okay, everybody leave. Everybody just stop what you're doing and leave." Okay, who's going to be the designated person for right now to go in and fix things?
Yeah, I think I will go in there and fix things that people tell me to, as long as I have whatever it is I need to fix it with. Mm-hmm. So otherwise, just let people know when you're in there fixing it, so nobody else goes in there.
Essentially, yeah, and be sure to save what you're doing. That's I'm telling you, what you having a campaign coming at some point. Make sure that when you save every time, like you're doing something. Because the next thing you might have accidentally put something in there you didn't want to put in there. It's like, oh, let me get rid of that, and you didn't save, but that thing is still there. So,
yeah, dude, I live in the United States of America. It seems like I would have better internet, or at least any internet. In the little town I live in, we don't even have internet. So, AT&T is like, well, we're not running anything until we run fiber. Well, and then you ask, well, when is fiber coming? Oh, well, we don't know.
Dude, I was having that problem when I first moved out here. My choices were only AT&T for a while, and they were still like, oh, well, we don't have any cords out there. As soon as there's more demand for it on your specific street, then you can have internet. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, so now you're knocking on doors like, hey, call AT&T.
Yeah, tell them you want internet. And instead, it was like me and two other people were the first ones to finally get internet out there. And then everybody tried to jack our internet.
Well, that's the thing. I looked when we bought our house. We just bought our house. It hadn't been long, probably 6 years ago. I looked on my phone and said, well, the AT&T's everywhere. I can get internet here. So, that's one of the requirements for buying a house. That you can have internet. Mm-hmm. But so I call AT&T. They're like, well, we don't do internet anymore. I'm like, well, both customers on either side of me have internet. And they're like, well, if they cancel, they'll never get it back. So
wow.
I was in the red. She said, you're on the red list. I was like, well, how do you get off the red list? Because I want to be in the black list.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, you can't get off the red list. I'm like, well, so here we are.
Yeah, I was getting stuff like that, but I've been here like a little over 10 years. So now finally we have the choice between AT&T and Spectrum. Both suck. The packages they offer to these apartments are still not as good as the stuff they offer everybody else. So no matter who you pick, you're stuck with crap internet for way more than any internet should cost.
Be grateful, Piper. Be grateful.
Yeah, I'm like, well, at least it's internet.
To the library at midnight to answer emails and stuff or send files.
Well, that's like where I live, because I live out kind of in the country, and the only option we have is DSL, and download is fine. It's the upload that really gets me. So that's kind of like I'm glad StreamYard came out to kind of like alleviate some of that problem with the upload, because I was having crap upload, And
I think it's a problem everywhere because EVS, his streams are notorious about having
just a sudden frozen EVS face. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw one the other day where he had to like leave and come back, and then there was 2 EVSs in the. That was funny. But yeah, so our option. Well, we have another option. The only problem is like I'm on this system where it's like because I have what they call CenturyLink. That's my DSL line, right? We also have a company called Suddenlink, which is the cable. Unfortunately, the cable stops literally 5 houses down the road, and they said that it's too long to run it this way.
Yeah, you're on the. I've heard that one too. You're on the end of the node.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, well, stretch it out. That's what I told him.
Get an extension cord.
Yeah. I was like, come on, I know you can do it. I believe in you. I was like, I give them pep talks on the phone. I was like, come on, I know y'all can do it. Because it literally like runs across like the 2 cross sections of road, both have cable running down it. And then it runs like 5 houses down on one end of the road, but then doesn't do anything else. So literally they could like run it from one end and then start it from the other end, and they could actually meet in the middle, and everything would be fine. But for some reason they don't want to do that. So
yeah, my buddy was like, if you get permission from your neighbor, we could tie in to his. I know how to do it. And I was like, cool. So next day, I go to work. I'm like, yeah, I got permission. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'll be able to do this. I was like, yeah, but we got to do it at night. He's like, no.
It's kind of like those. You remember those old cable boxes you could get that had all the channels?
Yeah.
It's like
I remember the satellite cards. You could program them satellite cards, and you could get everything too.
Yep, I had. We didn't have a satellite card, but I had a friend who had the cable, and we were big into wrestling and stuff like that. So we always go to his house to watch it because he didn't have to pay for it. Yeah, it was fun.
Dude, we watched wrestling one time, and then we got my mama's bed mattress, and we drug it out in the yard, next to the porch, and we was jumping off the porch onto the mattress, just wrestling our little hearts out, just muddying that mattress up. Good Lord, man!
I bet your mother was really happy about that.
Yeah, she was, but it was because of one of those wrestling shows. It hyped us up. It's kind of like watching Van Damme. You try to kick each other, and after the movie, you try to.
Mm-hmm. You try to roundhouse kick your friends, and yeah.
And sometimes you connect.
Yeah, and then they realize, oh, this actually hurts.
But that's what we want to see with Peregrine. I can't wait, man. I can't wait till I get it. I can't wait to get it in the mail. I'm gonna do a video of opening it.
Oh,
we're gonna have an unboxing. Holy
yeah, an unboxing.
Yes.
Peregrine unboxing.
Yep. I mean, that just hearing stuff like that is exciting to me. People he's like, I'll do an unboxing video, and then I heard, I forgot what it was the other day, but somebody said they couldn't wait. And like some people are already talking about wanting to do fan art and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, we made something that people want to do fan art with. That's so cool.
Yeah. One of the things I'm looking forward to, if she'll have me, is Shay Zombie. She cosplays characters as she does the streams. If she'll have me on her stream, I'm hoping that maybe that'd be like a cosplay of my character. Yeah. That's the little things that it's like your baby. You're proud.
Yeah, that's what we for a while without trying to like say her say what she her name or anything like that, we were saying our girl. So we were like Scott was really big about it, but it's like saying our girl, so we wouldn't like accidentally say anything.
That's how I ended up finding out, though, was that he was DMing me. He was saying something about I did such and such, so for our girl it's gonna be whatever, and I'm like,
who's our girl?
Who's that? And he's like, the comic, and I'm like,
what comic?
Which one? I don't know one where we call somebody our girl, and he was like the Jessica, and I was like, no, I don't.
You suck at code.
Yeah, because she didn't know until about 2-3 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were still in the process of, are we going to can we do this kind of thing, and
nothing was quite set in stone yet. It was in the planning phases. So I was around when it was like we were all chatting and we knew that reconstruction as a thing was needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was
And-
there for that because obviously the original trailer that was horrible because I did.
Yeah, because I was in there.
So
I was there for like that discussion, but at that point it was all, this is something that needs done, so we should do this. But
And
that
then-
was the last I'd heard about it.
and then she found out like we were actually doing something.
Yeah.
You have that moment where you're in that friend huddle where you talk about it. It might be several times, 3 or 4 times, or maybe even more, where you talk about it, you hype each other up, and you're like, yeah, this would be so awesome. We could do this, we could do that. And then eventually, then you get to that point where, oh, wait, we're really doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that at first it's just, something you'd like to do or like to see and stuff like that. And so, I was kind of around for that.
Mm-hmm.
But then they broke off and started actually doing stuff. And then didn't find out till later they were actually doing it.
Well, one of the big reasons for doing that was just to, like you said, to see if it would happen. Because you never know, like something sounds like a good idea and then things kind of fall apart. So you just kind of, didn't work out, so
Yeah.
didn't want to get anybody too excited about something that might not happen. But, as it progressed, it's like, this is, okay, this is looking like it's actually going to happen. So we, Scott, cued her in, which I was going to talk to her about it anyway, but he kind of spilled the beans on it, which is fine.
As soon as he did it, he was like, well, I could swear you were in on it, so my bad. And I was like, I'm telling.
Yeah, she came up and was like, so what's this about this comic? I was like,
I was like, so I heard y'all were making a comic like I wouldn't find out.
Yeah, she had, that whole, you ever seen that that meme where it says, I heard you talking shit like I wouldn't find out? Like somebody. That was literally her. Because like I mentioned to you off air, we had been talking about doing another comic for a while. In fact, you go back to the New Year's stream, I showed the first character for that comic.
Yeah.
On that New Year's stream.
Yeah, I thought that was the one.
So she thought that was the comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I knew about that one. I'm already editing on that one. That one's been put on pause though because it's not as big of a group project. They were trying to decide when I came in, it was a big trying to decide which one to do first, finish doing the one they had already announced, or do this one that's been super secret. And I heavily suggested doing this one first because it's a bigger group project. You have Scott, who's already had experience with door kickers. So for a first one, having other experienced people on it to kind of help spread the workload is probably going to be easier. And then you can take this experience and use it in your comic that's got the smaller team.
Smaller team, bigger submarine.
Yeah.
Well, how much time do you guys need to prepare for your stream? Because we're at 9:00 your time, I think.
I mean, usually about now we would just be getting together and just BS with each other.
Yes, and yeah.
So,
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it's set up for tonight, so I can go over there any minute. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I saw, so I'm watching the graded 0.5 streams, and I'm listening to the theme song that comes on beforehand, and then you guys are talking about doing a comic. So I'm thinking manga. I really did have that before I saw any images or anything. I did have that in my mind that it was going to be some type of manga. The song just put it in my mind. I guess that's what it's going to be.
I love that song. I have no idea what is being sung in that song, and I don't care. I think it's cute.
I don't think I've deciphered the words either.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it was like kind of like somebody made a joke on the show one night. We need an anime opening, right?
Yeah.
And a friend of ours, a friend of the show, Cider Hype,
man, had it that same night. Like,
yeah, that same night. Next thing I know, I'm like, he's like, check your DMs, like check my DMs, and he had it in there. I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah.
That was a gift because it's pretty awesome looking. He did a good job.
Yeah.
If I could, as soon as things calm down a little bit, work wise, I'm gonna make the intro even cuter. There's going to be little anime graded 0.5 people in the trailer.
Popping up in it and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So, yeah, as soon as work comes down and I can make them.
It was thanks to, I don't know if you saw, what was it, Saturday? That was the CG Ladies Night.
No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, you need to check that out because, well, actually, what
That
you
was
need
a
to do
blast. It was a train wreck, but it was a blast.
you need to check out the guy on Twitter, Mr. Yanafui, who does like the memes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Was that on your channel? Was that on the
I'm gonna
credit?
play it. Don't worry, I'm gonna play that tonight because it was hilarious.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll just come out of the stream and I'll watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he basically like there was a part in the stream where Piper sneezed, and so he made it like she was spreading around virus. And next thing you know,
the second I see the entire chat blew up with corona like crazy.
and then the next thing you know, is like on the meme he did, he had Mandy Summers and Charlie's London in masks.
Yeah. I think my favorite part was the graded team plus Micah carrying my coffin and dancing.
Don't worry, you'll see it tonight. It was
It was great.
I told Yanafui, I said, okay, that's it. I'm dead and this killed me.
That was so great.
But you could do a bit where like everybody has a can of Lysol and you could just pass it, like anybody coughs or anything, you just pass it from window to window.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Like, all right, here's your Lysol. Thank you. I need to get a gif of somebody spraying Lysol because that would be, just kind of like when somebody hears somebody coughs, like, uh-oh, and it's
With the sound effects and everything.
Yeah.
Well, here we can't find, maybe y'all can't either, but we can't find hand sanitizer. No. But I did go to Lowe's and I found 2 cans of Lysol. So, I just get my hands. I don't know if it does any good or not. It's got to do something.
Yeah, just well, it does, but at the same time, you want to make sure you wash your hands before you eat. You don't want to be tasting that. That would be a good thing, I don't think. His giggity would be best waifu. I mean, we'll see at the end of the year, right? Just like you got some time.
Yeah.
Yep. One more question: why is Evil Bob evil?
Evil Bob likes Warhammer.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's a lot of. I think that's where a lot of the meme came from and stuff. He might be able to explain it if he's in chat. Because I for one thing, I said, "Why do you call yourself Evil Bob? Your name is Mike."
It's like trying to figure out gamer tags. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just there.
Well, I've always said you either have some weird gamer tag that's like personal to somebody, so you never know what it's about, or you get XX Goku Naruto Sephiroth XX. Like
yeah. Or the was it the one they just give you, so you just go with it because you anxious to get to the game and you don't really care.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, whatever. Just
it's like I am now. Because one time I went. Because here's the funny thing: is like I have a gamer tag. And it was originally, I forgot what it was, and I forgot the password for it, so I had to make another one. And apparently the first ones I came up with were taken. And so it's like, we suggest for you, and it was like Optimus 546321 or Optimus 24426. It's always numbers, some random numbers or something. I was like, I'm not gonna call myself that. That's stupid.
Yeah, I refuse numbers in any of my tags or whatever.
Well, you always put in the name you want, like it's not gonna be there.
Yeah.
Why even put it in there? But you put it in, you're like, Jerry, that's taken. Well, that was expected. So you're like, Jerry 1. And then that's taken 2. So you're like, Jerry 2. And then you're like, oh, screw it. What random?
Yeah, exactly.
See, mine, that's how I ended it with Fizzgiggity, because I was like, oh, my nickname's Fizzgig, and I can't get my old name back, so I'll just put Fizzgig. Obviously, that's taken. I'll be clever. I'm going to spell it with a Y. Nope, that's taken too. I am not putting numbers in this thing. And then stuff led to Giggity, and then I typed in Fizzgiggity and, giggle, haha, that would be funny. Oh, yeah, it wasn't taken.
Yeah.
Guess that is pretty funny. I'm stuck with it now.
And what's really funny is we used to use TeamSpeak a while back.
Yeah.
And we had it set up so like it would announce who was coming in. So if I came in, it would say Optimus Deadpool has entered, kind of thing. Whenever Piper would come in and she was Fizz Giggity, it could not spell. It wouldn't say Fizz, like if it was like Fizz, right? It would say Foz. If you come in and say like Foz Giggity has entered the chat.
I want to know how it got that from that. Like,
I was like, I said apparently the bot was confused by Wise as a vowel, like
like the Fonz has entered.
Yeah, the Fonz.
You expect it to be.
I told her, I said, from now on, every time you enter, just go, "Hey,"
Hey, punch a jukebox. But the thing, well, if everybody in the world didn't have 3 or 4 different gamer tags, there'd be a lot more freed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know people who have like multiple accounts. I'm like, why do you do that? Well, I got to practice on one. Like, why? Just practice on your main. Well, I can't do that. Why not? Well, then my friends would know I'm practicing. I'm like,
yeah. I have a friend that plays. What game is that? But he won't play. He won't play on that account because he's got a certain kill ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And he's scared if he plays, he'll mess up his kill ratio. Yeah. So he won't play. He won't even play on that account. That's like a trophy he's got set up in his Xbox Live, or I don't know what he consistently plays on, but.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of like seeing people who play fighting games online. It's like they'll have that separate account for practicing with other people, and it's like they say, "Well, I'll use this one so I don't have like as many losses." I'm like,
it's a game.
Yeah, it's a game. Calm down.
At the end of the day, it's a game. I played a game called EVE Online, and it was more than a game to me. At one point, I was addicted to it. And I had to quit. My wife made me quit.
Well, yeah, I mean, EVE Online is basically like you're when you get to the point where you're having to do spreadsheets on how to better play the game. Yeah,
it became a job. It really did. It became more. It became a second job.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people
That's why I could not get into that one though.
Yeah, it's very boring. I don't know why I was into it so much, but it was so there was such a it's the gambling mentality, because there was such a great loss. If you lost, you lost. There was no going back and getting you. There's no save.
Mm-hmm.
It was like games in the 80s.
Yeah.
You get all the way to the end, you die, you're dead.
Yep. Well, I'm out of continues, right? Kind of over with now. Yeah. I've heard people talk about EVE. There's like I've heard many people say, yeah, I was they said they knew it was bad when they literally said, oh God, I got to go to work, and they went to work, and stuff like that, and it's like, I'm falling off work, so what are you going to do? I'm going to work in EVE. Like, yeah, like it was like another job, Yeah,
and it's easy to slip into that mentality. It's easy to slip in there and get where you're just that's what you do, and you want to make sure everything's. I don't know. There's just other people feel like that are depending on you to do your part, and and at that point, it's not a game anymore. So
yeah, I would say for me, gaming is always a release. Something to do for fun and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's on out.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, I might be, because I've been thinking about it, I said probably this coming up weekend, I'm just going to go play video games all weekend, because this past weekend was very stressful.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that too. Today I had a million things I was supposed to do because it was Monday, but I woke up with a fever and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sleep.
Yeah.
A lot today and catch up, because I screwed up my sleep schedule all weekend anyway.
Yeah, try to sleep it out. Yeah.
I told my son, you're lucky you got one more day off school online, because I'm not supervised today.
I hear that.
So all moms are doing the homeschool thing now. Homeschool, definitely. And I don't know that our little town is doing any homeschooling. My daughter homeschools anyway, so she's So
I kind of really wish that this would lead to some reform of public school. Like, what I really want is it would be great if a lot of people they started homeschooling and then going, this is a lot better than sending them to that school that teaches Common Core and this and that and this and that. That would be nice.
The big joke, one of the jokes I heard, I think it was Babylon Bee put out they're the parody site, and they put out an article, and it said, teachers want kids back in schools because they're afraid they'll lose their indoctrination.
Yeah.
Babylon Bee.
Yeah.
I love them. They're funny.
Yeah, they are funny. I follow them on Twitter.
Yeah, but I think the funniest one was in I think it was what's that that website that does like debunking,
Snoops.
Snopes. Yeah, Snopes. Yeah, so Snopes actually debunked one of their articles.
They ended up doing them
They
twice.
did. That was
and
a real thing.
them twice and the Onion once.
Yeah, they actually were debunking Babylon Bee, and Babylon Bee did an article that says like, fact checker fact checks parody site.
Yeah, it was funny. I remember that. That's not been too long ago. That's only been a few months ago, I think.
Yeah. It was just like funny. It's like they were having like a little back and forth. Like Babylon Bee just started dunking on them all the time. Like, hey, remember that time? Remember the time Snopes like debunked us for our parody article?
I tell you, Piper, about the homeschooling. My daughter has been homeschooling. Well, at first she started homeschooling off and on because of travel. She had to do a lot of traveling there for a while, and so she'd get out of school, she'd go back to school, and she was doing math. We was on a certain program, but anyway, she was doing math, and she would go to school and she would do her math, and she'd be done with her math before the rest of the class. And her teacher's like, "Kylie, how are you doing this so quickly?" And so they, but they were doing a different type of math. They were doing the we taught her multiplication tables and just memorized them. But they were doing the Microsoft math. What's it called? Common Core.
Yeah, they were doing that Common Core stuff. Yeah. I hate that.
But she was
slow.
It is slow. There's no accountant gonna pay somebody to do that kind of math for.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And but she was in and out so much that the teacher was just she was like, we're just gonna go with it. So she gave it to her. But
yeah, it was I made that point the other night. I forgot what stream was a stream or something. And I said, like, why do we have to do Common Core? I was like, the term. I've literally heard this from people. They said, oh, the reason they doing Common Core math is so we can keep up with the Chinese. I was like, didn't the Chinese invent math? Why do we got to change what they invented? They're probably glad that we became experts at the stuff that they invented in the first damn place.
Yeah, I can't do it. I the answer's 5. And then my little one's like, well, why is it 5? I'm like, because it is.
Yeah.
And then I go to the apples. You got 5. You got 3 apples. You got 2 apples.
Mm-hmm.
You got 5 apples.
5 apples. Yeah. And then they could do the whole like, oh, you got to. What I heard, like you said, well, what you do first is you like if it's 2, like 5 minus 2, right? Well, you got to round 5 to 10, and then you got to round 2 to 5, and then you got to do this. And it was like really weird rigmarole, circle this number and then take that number out and then put that number back in and this, that, the other. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And then I think to this day, my favorite video I've ever seen online as far as Common Core goes was one teacher was teaching, not a teacher, but it was like a person was doing Common Core version of math, another person doing regular math, and it was division. And he did his in like 10 seconds. And she was like working on hers, and he goes down the hall, gets some coffee, gets a sandwich. And
and that's why those kind of classes is why we have the comic books we have today.
Yep. That's exactly right.
To bring it back to comics.
That's exactly what it is.
Why we have the stories and the comics that we have today, because of the public schools.
Mm-hmm. Public schools and friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna let you guys go and get ready for your stream. Do you want to pitch Peregrine one more time before you go?
I think Piper, I'm gonna let you do it. You need to practice.
To pitch Peregrine one more time?
Yeah.
I would say play the 30-second trailer.
Okay, well, we'll
that's at the bottom. Yeah.
Play the 30-second trailer.
Yeah. It's actually a good little trailer. We're going to add some things to it because John Maitland told us to.
Got to keep John happy.
Exactly. Hello. It is our great pleasure to introduce our brand new 48-page graphic novel, Peregrine, Wings of the Falcon. Peregrine is our first story in the Reconstruction universe. To bring fun and hope back to the superhero genre. Be sure to back it today on Indiegogo.
All right, you guys are at 67% of the $10,000 fixed goal. $10,000 is the number that you have to hit, or you're not going to be able to create the book. So let's get them there. 26 days left, but you guys have a lot of momentum behind you guys. I'm sure it's going to go past that and even further. So book 2, I'm going to go ahead, speak it out to the atmosphere. Book 2 is going to, you can fund both books with this campaign. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to let's end it right there then.
Okay.
I hope that all of your dreams comes true and that your imagination runs wild.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.